Welcome to Sunnybrook Smart Learning. Be smart, be fun. Learning is smart. Learning is fun. My guests today are Angela and Erickson, and our topic is self-regulation and good study habits. So let me give you some questions so that you can evaluate your study habits. Number one, do you usually study in the same place every day?
Yes.
When you were younger, maybe in college or high school?
Yes.
Yeah?
When I was in elementary, actually, there's always a spot in my bedroom that I sit in, and then that's where I read and do homeworks and study.
Yeah. So, how about you, Erickson?
Actually, it changes, Dr. Ku. For example, when I was younger, I have a special taste also, just like Angela. But as I grew up, I try to find the perfect
The perfect
spot for studying.
You're still finding until now.
No, I think I figured it out.
You figured out
Yes,
already.
apo.
Number two, does your desk have anything on it that might distract you from your work?
I don't have. I want my table clear and spacious.
Yeah.
So
How
that
about
I
these
can work.
days? Do you have your cell phone with you?
I
on the
don't have.
desk? Oh, wow.
Wow.
These are so good, these
I
students.
put it somewhere else.
You put it somewhere else. How about you, Angela?
Me, same here. My answer is yes. I usually organize the things on my desk. Even if my phone is there,
It's on
I have it,
silent
yes,
mode.
or
Yeah.
in one spot lang. So I won't really be fidgety and to check it every time.
Good. So, do you use simple charts or maps in your notes when you take notes?
I do, Dr. Who. It's like so that it's easier for me to process things or try to remember what I do.
Exceptional students. Because they are all, they're both honor students. So, do you keep your notes on one subject altogether?
Oh, no. Me, I put my notes for each subject on the notebook that I use for copying the lectures as well. So even when I was young, so I'd copy paragraphs, I'd copy the whole lecture, and then when it's time for the teacher to discuss points, I follow through with her discussion
So,
right
but,
there on
but
the
I
page.
mean, separated by subject, right?
Yes. Opo.
Not
in
every
one.
subject in one notebook,
No.
page by page, right?
No,
Yeah,
opo.
separation is good, no? So you keep your notes on one subject altogether.
Yes.
Yeah. How about this? Do you highlight and make notes on the side when reading?
Yes, Dr. Who. Especially if the paragraph needs more understanding or I need to process it more, I put some star for this one or like keywords on the side of the paragraph
yes,
with
yeah.
with the bracket. So I understand this keyword pertains to this part of the readings.
Oh, wow.
yes.
Yeah.
So-
How about you, Angela?
Me too, especially during elementary and high school years. I do a lot of highlights, even when I was in undergraduate studies. I do highlights
Of
for
different
the
colors?
terms.
What colors do you use?
I usually just use one lang, one type of color to memorize the terms.
The terms.
Yes.
The terms, yeah.
But now in graduate school, I think I have a perception that it's more on the understanding and
Yeah,
then and how you elaborate on your learning. So I highlight less now, but more note taking,
Yeah.
more writing on the side.
Yeah, you know, you both have very good study habits to be shared. Yeah. So, number 6, do you sit up all night preparing for an examination?
No.
No.
Dr. Who.
No,
I prepare
yeah.
in advance.
So that is good study habit, not to sit up and not sleep, because the next day you need all the energy.
Dr. Who.
Yeah. Do you often write an answer to a question and then realize that it seems to be the answer to some other question on the examination?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
There are
Sometimes,
times
yeah.
it looks the same, but
Yeah.
when you go back to the question, there's something different. You need to explain further here, or more here, less
Yeah.
here.
So let me explain what should be the answers, right? Number 1, it's best to have a schedule, routine. You study in the same place every day because your things are there already, and when you sit down, you know what you are going to do. Secondly, the desk should not have distractions so that you can concentrate on your task. Using charts and maps in your notes is very good because we visualize, we can remember visuals more than words.
Yeah.
And then you keep all your notes on one subject altogether so that you will not lose some parts of the lecture. Highlighting and making notes on the site is good for studying. And you should not sit up all night preparing for an examination. And number 7, actually, you should read all the instructions first before starting to answer. Yeah, so you'll prepare that for your comprehensive examination. Look at all the instructions first, glance through the questions, and then start answering. Otherwise, you may be answering some parts of the other question
That's a
already.
good strategy.
Okay?
That's a good strategy.
So what is self-regulation? For our audience who might not know, there is a term called metacognition. Metacognition means being aware and having control over your own learning. Yeah? Everybody is learning, trying to prepare for examination, taking notes, but not everybody knows how to have control over that learning. And secondly, knowing what you know and what you don't know. So you will have to prepare, make more effort to what you don't know rather than what you know already. So since you have been acquainted with this term before already, have you tried that on yourself? Do you know what you know and not know what you don't know?
I think that's a little tricky because sometimes I think that's where somehow the guidance of a teacher or an expert in your study will be helpful.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you cannot really know the extent of the things that
Correct.
you don't know yet.
Yeah, so you don't know what you don't know talaga.
Yes, opo. So I think what is helpful is to really know what you know.
Yeah.
And then from there you can try to, I think it's also something that has to be started by yourself to
Yeah.
expand your learning, and then maybe you can figure out in your reflection and in your studying.
Correct.
Wait, there's something that's confusing, and maybe
because
this is
if a
something I know.
question pops up in your mind, you should write it down because it's something you don't know.
Yes.
And then you research more on what you
Yes.
don't know. Because we should be preparing examination for things that we are not good in, not know, rather than what we already know. Yeah, is that what your experience is too?
Yes, Dr. Ku. I find it clearer to have understanding of the things that I know already. And then it also makes you reflect about how well do you know yourself.
Yeah.
Because those things will help you in the other instances where you need thinking, where you need metacognition.
Yeah, that is very important point, no? Person variable. You should know your own strengths and weakness. How much time you would need to
Yes.
study math, to
Yes.
study language, to study social studies, and so on.
Oh.
Yeah, because what subjects did you spend more time in when you were elementary grades, for example?
Math.
Math is,
Math.
yeah. So you have to a lot more time for it than the other subjects. Yeah, because you know that you have less knowledge about math.
Yes, it's also procedural.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
In contrast to the other subjects, example, social sciences would be more focused on perceptions
Yeah.
and analysis.
Yeah.
Math also has something to do with, I think, everything. You have to analyze
everything.
problems,
Yeah.
even in equations, and
Correct,
then you have to
yeah.
strategize which solution or which approach you're gonna take. So
Yeah.
it has to have a lot of practice.
And the formulas and the
Yes.
yeah. So because there's conceptual knowledge and there's procedural knowledge as
yes,
well,
ma'am.
right? Yeah. So the word, this word that our audience will learn is called metacognition, and it involves 3 things. It involves planning, monitoring, and evaluation. So planning is before the task. You have to plan. Monitoring while doing the task. And then evaluation is after you've done the task. Which among these 3 is more difficult for you? The
Evaluation.
planning.
Evaluation.
Evaluation. Usually after you've done the task, you don't care about it anymore. Yeah.
Or sometimes you
Yes.
overthink, Dr. Ku, the things that make you feel like, did I do it right? Did I do it? Should
So
I do
you
it
worry.
this way?
You worry after the
Yes,
task.
after the task. But I think it helps also to be to know the different phases of this one.
Right. So, evaluation probably is the Waterloo of most people. No? They don't know what to do, and until the teacher returns the paper, that's when you had a shock.
Yes. Well, I think one factor is also because you've developed a routine in doing this. So as long as you finish the task, you finish it on time, you think it's satisfactory for you, then that's fine.
That's it.
Oh yeah, You stick to your routines kasi po because it's been working for you somehow for a long time.
But remember, when the teacher returns the paper, it is also a good time for you to self-evaluate. Like, why did I not do well here, and so on, and so that the mistakes or the failures will not be repeated the next time. Yeah. So I've here some tips of building good study habits. I've here 10 tips. Number 1 is manage your time, right? Yeah. And how good are you in managing your time?
I need it.
Right now, a little problematic.
It's at the end of the semester that is more difficult? Or
I
what?
think so.
Yeah.
It also, I think, what can also help is pacing. And even before you try to manage your time, you should be able to manage also the commitments that you're gonna take. So
Right,
even if you're a young student, of course you have extracurricular tasks that you have to also decide how much priority you're gonna give.
In social events and so on.
Yes.
Because people usually fall into procrastination, right? Yeah. So procrastination is one of the most problematic reason why students are not doing well in school. So how do we avoid procrastination?
I think, Dr. Kut, just like what you gave as a tip, you have to manage your time. You need to set your deadlines. You need to plan it ahead, what things should be done first, what things should be done afterwards, which particular task takes more time to do, so you have to, and then afterwards, you're going to work out with it.
Yeah. You know, procrastination actually is related to perfectionism. So you are looking for the perfect time, the perfect mood, the perfect materials, and so on. So you see, it becomes a problem. Procrastination may work for some people who want a last adrenaline rush and so on, but usually does not work for most people.
Actually,
Yes, of course.
Because you cannot cram on the last minute for certain higher learning. You have to have already prepared that before. Now, probably you two are more exempted from all these problems. But do you have friends whose social media life is making their, not doing well in their study habits?
I do.
Yeah.
I actually hear them attempting to parang uninstall applications or deactivate accounts just so to compel themselves to work on their commitments or work on their studies
So
more.
some deleted their account even.
But I also tell them na it's just one thing, no? To move yourself away from your distractions and also in yourself to actually tell yourself that these are my priorities and I really have to work on these things.
Yeah. So you should have control over that, no? Internal locus of control. I can have control over my social media. So the most important thing about building good study habits is manage your time. That's number 1. Number 2, structure your environment. Yeah, is your environment conducive to learning and to studying, Angela?
I think it's in my case it's two-way. It's external and also internal. So aside from having the parang routine, a time, an hour of the day that I tell myself, oh, it's my hour, it's my time to study. Of course, you also fix nga your surroundings. So I also think even the people around you, the people with you in the house, should also be supportive of you when you say na it's my time to study, I need to focus.
Yeah.
So
So
they
the
could support
surrounding.
you, Now that what I'm doing is important for
Correct.
me.
Yeah. And now you pointed out something very important. No? It's not just external, but internal.
Yeah.
Are you quiet? Are you
Yes.
prepared? Or are you calm to
Internally
study?
distracted.
Because you have many internal distractions as well. Your worries, anxieties, your problems, and so on. Yeah. So how is your environment?
In my
Erickson?
workplace, I try to find a spot that I cannot see other people. So I move it around, and then I make sure that light is important.
Yeah,
So that,
very
and same with ventilation. I think
Correct.
it's a
Yeah,
good
very good.
way to know that your workplace is working well for you.
Yeah.
If you have
So
those
what
two
kinds of
things.
light do you like? The
I
yellow light
have
or
the
the white
natural
light?
light. Actually, good
Yeah.
thing in our office there's a window that you can see the sunlight, and then we also have the fluorescent light,
Yeah.
and then
Good, yeah. Some people like a big space. Some like to study in a cubicle,
yes.
toward the wall.
Yeah.
facing the wall.
So structure your environment that fits your learning style, right? Yeah.
Actually.
Number 3, set your goals and objectives. Yeah. So do you sit down in the morning like today I wanted to do this, I want to do this, and so on?
I
Do you
have a funny, my classmates find this funny. When I was in college, when we'd have to photocopy books, I tell the photocopier not to bind it. So when it comes to me, I'm the only one who would photocopy it, just the papers. And then what I do, I clip chapters.
Yeah.
So
it's
for this day, I'm gonna just finish one chapter. So then I was effective. So I'd come to class and I'd tell my classmates, I'm done reading that because I did not.
Actually, I do that too with your papers. When my students submit their papers, I would put the 4 together and this 4 together,
Yeah,
so that if I'm done with this, I'm happy, and then the next set and so on. Yeah, breaking it down, the task, right? Yeah. So, how about you, Erickson?
Actually, I find it funny because I have the same practice with the clipping of the chapters, and then I put the colorful sticky notes. So that's my idea. But with the short goal, set your goals and objectives. Every Monday, I try to plan the week.
Wow.
So I want recently I find it effective for me that I blocks of time. Like for this, I will do this. If there's a bit of tweaks, little changes, I try to finish the things that I do for the day. Pa rin.
Yeah, that is very good. So you calendar your week already on
Yes.
Monday. That's
Yes,
very
Monday
good, yeah.
start and then try to do it.
So
then the
by
following
week,
again.
by week.
Yes.
Yeah. That's important. Yeah. So that's number 3. Set your goals and objectives. Number 4, focus on your task. Yeah. Sometimes you are seated there, you have a given time for that task, but you cannot focus. What gives you distraction? What makes you lose your focus sometimes?
Maybe in my case, I try to multitask in my head also. Like I finished this already, and what will I do next? So I forgot to do this part. So I have to conscious effort for me to remember, stick to your task. Do not multitask. It will not help you at all, or it will help you, but just for a short time. And then,
That's very good. Yeah, mindfulness, no?
Yes,
I'm
you
doing
have to
this
be
at
very
the time.
mindful.
Mindful. Oo.
You have
So
to
you
be
are
very
not
mindful.
looking around for distractions. Yeah. How about you, Angela?
In my case, I usually get distracted when I plot how much time I think I'd finish studying or working on a requirement because I have a chore to do afterwards. And then by the time that I have to do that chore, I'm still not done. So I couldn't focus anymore.
at that time.
Yes,
Yeah.
because in my plan, in my head,
Nasira.
I've prepared myself na I'm gonna move and do something else because I'm supposedly done.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things.
So actually, you should allow more time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we squeeze too many things to do
Yes.
on a day. Like we're superhumans. So you have to prioritize and then sequence to what is done has to be done first, and then the second, and so on. Yeah, and then knowing the steps. No. So for a review, so we said manage your time, structure your environment, set your goals, focus on your tasks. Number 5, organize your things. Are you a very organized person?
No. Only the desk
Honestly.
is organized
Organized.
when it's time to study.
The cabinet is not organized. Yeah.
I
Erickson, you
want
think?
my things to be organized so that it's easy for me to find it and I know where
Yeah.
to find it.
So that you will not lose time just
Anything, yeah.
finding things.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you organized in your file, for example,
I
in
have
your laptop?
folder. Actually my desktop is clear. I just put single line of folder so I know for this subject, for this task, for this responsibility, and it's just in one line so I know where to drag it. I don't want cluttered desktop.
Yeah, you look very neat. Eh. Even outward. So, because it's very frustrating if you're trying to find a file and you
Yes.
cannot remember where you file it, and we are always searching, diba,
Yes.
there, no? So sometimes people misplace it, even in your files, in your internet or your laptop files, where this topic does not belong here, and it belongs there. And then eventually, after many weeks, and you saw it, and you said, "Sayang, I didn't use this in my presentation because
Should
of
have done it."
misplacement." Yeah, misplaced, no. So organized in your files and your desk as well. Number 6, take notes constantly. Are you a note taker? Do you take notes a lot?
For my studying, I do take notes a lot. But when I'd be planning things, I usually don't. I started taking notes of my plans only recently when I'm noticing na I'm finding it difficult not to remember.
Yeah.
Before kasi it was my exercise for my mind
Yeah.
to have my plans only in my mind, parang yan.
Yeah,
Mental
yeah.
notes only
Yeah.
to keep my memory
Yeah.
active, something like that.
Actually, when we are young, we usually, we overestimate ourselves. No?
And our minds also.
Because when you come to a certain age, the more
Yeah.
you have to list down all the things. Particularly if you have many clients in your speech
yes, ma'am.
pathology and
Especially
so on.
opo.
Yeah, you have to make records, right, of their views and yeah. So taking notes is one time I asked my students to just submit their notes. I just wanted to see how well they are in writing notes, no? Because notes has to be organic. It is still evolving. Because after the lecture, if you read something else, you want to add more to that notes, no? So I'd like those files that can be transferable, movable, and so on, not the fixed ones, yeah? So, and also ask questions. I always, in my notes, write a Q. When I say Q, this is a question. So I'll have to find out the answers to this question. Yeah, keep writing notes, not only during lecture. From your reading, from your listening from other lectures, you can keep on evolving your notes. Number 7, find reliable sources of information. Yeah, these days, students do not know what is valid and what is true kind of information. Yeah, so we have to know how to verify, critique, and not plagiarize information.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you find that too among your students?
Well, yes, I have to remind my undergraduate students to do these things, and importantly, the last one, plagiarism. Sometimes they forget it's, they find it innate to just copy from others. That I have to remind them that you have to cite the sources, and
Yeah.
it's not, it's okay to get other sources as well. It doesn't have to come from you.
Correct.
But you need to cite them properly because it's their
Yeah.
intellectual
Actually,
property.
when I check your papers, I look at the references first. What are these sources?
Valid.
Reliable. Not all Wikipedia
Yes.
or
Yes.
ano ba ito?
Blogspot.
Dictionary, and so on, the blog and so on. They have to be from good publishers as well. So, yeah. Number 8, prepare for examinations. How do you prepare for examinations, Angela?
I usually think about my schedule 1 week, the whole week before the exam date. So I could pace myself and
Yeah.
chunk the things that I need to study.
No
That's
wonder you are
how-
always performing so well in
That's a good strategy po pala.
Well, my demeanor back then was parang somehow another type lang of procrastination. Just because I don't want to, I don't really want that feeling of being crammed,
Yeah.
of too much pressured. I want,
Correct.
at the last minute, I want to be playing, I want to be watching TV.
Yeah,
That's my
that's
goal
good.
kasi po. So,
Yeah,
what I do is move all the hard stuff in front, and then so I can play later on, something like that.
That's actually good for the brain. So it makes your brain now relax. Oo. And you had time already for consolidation because you had given enough time for that to be there, no? Pacing is very important and not cramming, yeah. And then chunking, yeah. Chunking is good, not separate discrete kind of information. Chunk them together, yeah. And so do not cram, and you have to space out the studying time, no? How about you, Erickson?
The day before or the day of that exam, I eat for myself. Like I eat so that I won't be hungry during the exam. And then so that and then I try to move
But
around.
what do you eat?
A good breakfast and
Carbohydrates,
carbohydrates. I hydrate also. It's important to remain hydrated, but not too much. I mean, so that I won't be
So
focused on that.
Before the exam, you eat well, so you won't be
Yes,
hungry.
yes.
Why? Have you experienced hunger before when taking?
I think I do during when I was in high school. So and I don't want that because I try to focus with my exam, and if I'm hungry, that's where I have
because you
my
don't have the
attention.
energy near the middle and so on. Yeah, that's actually a good tip.
And
Never thought of
I
that.
try to move around to relax also, like walking from the one college to the other. When I was in college, I tried to walk so that I won't have
To be
the
rushing,
relax,
to be
yes,
rushing,
and-
yeah.
yes. And my mother always tell me that before the examination, you have to be relaxed. You don't have to you don't have to feel that pressure.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah,
And
You
I
see?
take it until
Yeah.
now.
So we are learning from each other. Number 9, seek help and support. People don't like to seek help sometimes, yeah. But we have to ask help if we don't know something from our friends, from our classmates, or even from the teachers, right? For support as well. Some people are just embarrassed to seek help, which is very unfortunate because your friends may help you solve a problem very quickly when you have been struggling for some time. Yeah. And number 10, give yourself consequences. Reward yourself. Do you reward yourself sometimes? You did a good job.
All the time.
Both naman, Dr. Internally and external
Yes.
rewarding. Like, hey, you did good. You did, that's good. And then sometimes, like more relaxation time. That's a good.
But however, if you did not do well, do you have self-consequences, punish yourself?
More of the idea of understanding that's what happened if you don't study well, or more of that. That's what I do, or that's a natural consequence of your choice.
That's, it's natural.
Natural.
Yeah, since you get a bad grade. So that's your punishment. Yeah. So today we learned from my two very good students. They are excellent students. Tips on how to establish good study habits. And we hope to see you again soon in our next episode. This has been Dr. Grace Koo. Thank you for watching.